I am a beginner in the drone world. Previous to this, I had only flown drones like once or twice. So if you're like me, purchasing your first drone can be ultra confusing. There's so many things out there to look for, and then they're really expensive. So a few months ago, I had the opportunity to review my first drone, and it was this one. So it's the Mini S20 Lite. I had fun with this. It was actually pretty fun. So the shortcomings of the Mini let me know the things that I wanted to have in my next drone. Mainly obstacle avoidance, easy to control, distance, and most importantly, a really good camera. So what I did is I put together a list and I ranked things, and I looked at many different types of drones, and I narrowed down on one to buy. But if you are a beginner like I was and like I am, then I hope that this video can help you to decide which drone to buy. Because if you're like me, I did not want to spend $1,000 on something that I would just crash. I didn't want to spend $700 or $800 on something that I couldn't use to make content because the cameras were so bad. I didn't want to spend $1,000 on a drone that I couldn't receive because of shipping and things like that. So in this video, I want to go through the process with you, and then maybe you can adapt that process to decide to buy your first drone, or you can use the same one. I chose to focus on what matters most to me, and number one was price, because it had to be affordable. Number two was the camera quality, because I wanted to make content with the drone. Features and performance and availability. So I used that criteria to eliminate drones from a list that I had curated previously. Let's find out what I was thinking, how did I go through it, and maybe it might work for you. So I watched tons of YouTube videos about drones. And the thing that I noticed is the reviews and the suggestions were from people who already had drone experience. And people like me as a beginner, I don't think I was ready for some of that yet. So these are the drones that I looked at. I looked at the offerings from DJI, including the Air 3, Air 3S, the DJI Flip, and the Mini 4 Pro. I checked out the offerings from HoverAir, the X1 and X1 Pro, and the HoverAir X1 Pro Max. Yeah, that's it. Whew, tongue-tied a little bit there. Also Specta. I found Specta was really just a clone of DJI. So I looked at the Specta Air and the Specta Mini. And finally, the Potensic Atom 2 caught my eye. So the first category that I used to eliminate drones was price. I needed a drone that I could afford. And also I did not want to spend so much on a drone that I would be afraid to fly it. Because crashing is real. When I tested the Mini drone, I crashed so bad and so hard, and I didn't want to spend $1,000 on a drone to just crash it. That would be horrible. And simply, I can't afford it. So I set the threshold at $700. Any kit more expensive than $700 got eliminated. So off the bat, that eliminated the DJI Air series. It eliminated the HoverAir series, and the Specta Air series. Those drones, to get any kit that you could use, were at least $1,000. Air 3 was $1,000. Air 3S was about $1,200. HoverAir was $900. The HoverAir X1 Pro was about $900. The X1 was about $6 or $7. So that stayed on the list, but the other ones I eliminated, along with the Specta Air, because again, it was $999. So next, what I decided to take a look at was the camera performance, because this was so important to me, because I wanted to use this drone to produce content for my YouTube channel, to get better looks at things and make videos for my family. So at the very minimum, it had to have a 4K camera. It had to. So that eliminated the HoverAir X1 because that camera was only 2.7K. And the offerings from DJI, the Mini 4 Pro and the Flip, both have the same camera. 4K, go up to 4K 60, have log profiles, like everything you could want in a camera, it had it. The HoverAir X1 Pro also have a 4K camera. And finally, the Potensic Atom 2 also had a 4K camera. But out of all of those, the DJI is the only ones that still had the log profiles and the other things, the other camera additions. So that made the choice a little bit tough. Okay. So next, after I narrowed it down, I looked at the features and performance. Now, I will tell you, obstacle avoidance was important to me because of the crashes that I had with the drone that I was testing before the Amita S20 Lite. And again, even though I narrowed down the more expensive drones, this is still my hard-earned money. And I did not want to spend it on something that I would crash. So obstacle avoidance was important. It was one of the #1 things. But I had to allow for other things like the quick shots and AI-powered camera modes. So in looking at that, the offering from DJI, they had obstacle avoidance, even though the Mini 4 Pro has a better obstacle avoidance than the Flip, but at least it had front obstacle avoidance. The HoverAir X1 has obstacle avoidance, but not going backwards. But it's more of a selfie drone, so it can fly low and fast and follow you. And that's something I really liked. Then the Potensic Atom, it did not have obstacle avoidance, but it had lots of AI tracking modes and quick shots. So you could, the artificial intelligence inside of the drone could track you, vehicles, or anything else while doing all of the same things. So this made it tough. Honestly, at this point, everyone went to the next round. DJI was first because it had the obstacle avoidance. HoverAir was a close second because it did have obstacle avoidance. But the thing I didn't like about it is that I couldn't fly it like a regular drone. The battery life was short. It only did like 18 minutes versus all the other ones did at least 30 minutes. And I would have fun flying. So I didn't want an 18-minute battery, so that eliminated him. So at this point, either I can get DJI and have everything, or I can get the Potensic Atom and have most of the things. So in order to narrow that down, I decided to add availability onto the list, and then that will help me make my decision. Availability was something that was very important because I wanted to buy this drone and I didn't want to wait 2 months to get it. And during the time when I was shopping for drones, DJI was having some immense trouble with importing drones into the United States. I've saw reports of people having their orders refused, orders canceled. Sometimes they got through and they was able to get it. And then DJI was just coming off of rebuilding their inventory. So lots of the inventory wasn't available. It's not like I could go down to the local Best Buy and buy the drone because they didn't have them, or they had 1 or 2. And they only had the ones that are already eliminated. So that presented a problem. The Mini 4 Pro was very difficult to find. I could find it refurbished, but not from DJI. And if you want to see more about what I think about refurbished products, I have a video about that linked below. And I'll really only buy from the manufacturer. So that eliminated the top choice 1 and 2. So what did I get? If you've been following along and watched the whole video, you already know you've been able to strike it off your list. So I got the Potensic Atom. And the reason why I chose that drone over the DJI, the HoverAirs, and all of that is because of, well, one, the price. I got a Fly More combo with 3 batteries and the drone controller, everything, for about $430 some. versus the Flip with the same batteries and everything was about $700. The Mini 4 Pro that would jack it up to almost $1,000, violating my rules. So the price was mainly it. The second thing, the camera quality. So watching some reviews, well, I watched the reviews from the first Atom because when I bought this Atom, it was just released and there were no reviews out about it. But the people loved the camera on the first Atom, and what I saw from it, it looked pretty good. And I read that the Atom 2, they managed to open the aperture more. So instead of like a 2.8, now the aperture was 1.8. So low light performance was better. It also did all of the AI things. It was the only one that had AI include, or at least they named it AI. So it did the tracking and the following, and those things were important to me to use. It did not have obstacle avoidance, but I decided to take a chance on it because although it was important, but it wasn't worth waiting months to get my drone or spending an additional $400 or $500. And the good part about it is Potensic offers the Potensic Care. I paid 49 bucks and then they will replace it anyway. So that kind of nullified the need for obstacle avoidance. And then the availability. Again, the #1 choice was DJI, but I didn't know if I would even get the drone. This one, I put in my order with Amazon and 2 to 3 days later, it showed up at my doorstep. Easy as pie. So that's why I chose the Potensic Atom. I wanted something like the DJI. I have many DJI products, and you're probably saying, well, you could have got the Mini 4K, and I could have gotten the Mini 4K, and the price is almost the same, but it did not have the AI features, didn't have the tracking things and stuff like that that I wanted. So I didn't get it. So that's my choice. Now, if you want to see what I think about the Potensic Atom, I do have a review on my channel. I'll link that below too. So anyway, that's all I got. Y'all be blessed, and I'll see you later.